Hey there, it's Christy here at My Artful Adventures, and today we are going to be working on this fun little Highland Cow card. Isn't she adorable? So she splits open here. She's like 3D, and she opens all up. Let me put you down to the desktop, and I can show you better that way. Okay, so I've got some of our parts already cut out here, as you can see, but isn't she cute? So she opens all up like this. And we've got all kinds of little pockets and tuck spots, even on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this and show you what to do. So first of all, let's walk through the papers real quick. But here's our cover sheet. So this is one of the Paper Craft Socials kits, and this one is called Clarabelle Dreams. Oh, I can't talk. My goodness. So that is what we are going to work on today. Let's first take a quick peek at our pages today. So here we go. Here, this page 1 has the little the flap on this one. So to start with, we're going to need page 1 and page 2 to start with, and those are going to be our cover. And then the next ones, you're going to keep page 3 and 4. The main squares on page 3 and 4 go together, okay? Otherwise, all the other little things you can go ahead and cut out, and we'll work on those. If you want to go ahead and cut them out, I've got all mine cut out, and I'm going to walk you through. Here's some fun tags and things, and you can assemble all these any way you want. There's also 2 pages that have been included that are just paper that you can use any way you want. If you want to make an envelope out of one, you can certainly do that. I'm going to show you how to make a little hidden tuck spot on a tag. Okay, so we're going to do that in just a minute. So let's go ahead and we will start with the cover next. We are going to use these 2 pieces for our cover. So we've got this here, and these match up. So find the direction that this one goes. This one with the tab goes here on the left, and then we're going to match one here, okay? And you can see where this lines up right here, and so that's going to be your clue. And then this is kind of, a continuation of this little pattern here, and that's how those work. So first of all, let's fold this one in half, and you don't have to use any special tools with this. We're going to fold it in half. It is nice to have a bone folder, though. I will say that. Something to really, press it down. Just something you might use the side of a pen, or a writing pen or whatever. And then on this one, let's go ahead and we want to make a line. Now I'm going to show you something. I always have a paper trimmer that's got a great spot to do some scoring in. But if you don't have something like that, one of the things you might do is take a ruler and you want to put it over this way just a tad, because you can because as it folds, it's going to leave a little bit of space there, okay? Hold it down tight and then just slightly bend it up, and you can do this. If you have like a square edge on your table, you might even do that. So I've given it, I don't want it to go this way though. I'm just gonna do both sides so I know which way, because eventually we are going to bend that, right? And then this one, we are going to go ahead and bring it over here, and just bring it to your fold line and just match up your top and bottom and fold that one in half, because we're going to want to know where all these places that are folds, eventually we'll need that on the other side. Now once you've matched up your patterns like we did a minute ago, I would suggest that you take a little pencil and just write, like I just put an R for this is the right side of this one. I actually did an L for the left side, and then we'll just go ahead and get these 2 glued together. We're just going to put some glue here on our tab. If you want to use like a double-sided tape or something, you could do that. You just want to use some adhesive. I would suggest you use something that doesn't take too long to dry. If you use liquid glue, you got just a moment to, give it a little wiggle room so that you can match it up and get it on there just where you want, right? So we'll just give that a good press. All right, and you can see I did leave the little I left the border, the little pink cut lines, I did leave that on. And if you want to go ahead and ink, I would suggest that you ink edges as you go. I'm not going to do that because it will take me forever to get through this, and I know we just want to know how to put it together, right? You don't need to watch me ink. So that's now we're ready to move on to the next part of the cover. For this section, you want these tabbed pieces with Clarabelle, our Highland Cow, and we're going to take these pieces that don't have tabs on them. And what we're going to do is we're going to put these back to back. So this one, and you'll want opposite pieces, right? Because this will be flipped around on the back like this. And same here. So you want, the opposite. So you've got one on the back. So now let's go ahead and let's get this part scored here. And if when you've got big pieces, you might even just, try giving it a little bend with your fingers to get it started. And the paper is not so stiff that you can't do this. I mean, this is a nice weight paper. It holds up for this kind of thing, but it's not so heavy that it's going to give you trouble trying to, do something like this and be able to fold it. Now, when you don't have such large pieces for your tabs, sometimes it's a little bit harder. Like we've got a couple of pockets coming up and it's going to be just a little bit more difficult to do. Okay, now that we've got these cut like this, now we're going to attach these together. Now, what I've done on these is I have just cut a little notch right there at the part right at the edge of the pink outline, okay? And then we can, because then you can see she's going to line up right there, right? And so that'll give you a visual cue as to how to get those to line up. So let's go ahead and put the ink right here. Nope, wait a second. That is not true. We're going to put, oh my goodness. Okay, we're going to ink ink, not even ink. We're going to glue this back part so that both of these are together, okay? And then just slide this in. So you can see, these face each other. So basically, these are the opposites. So now I can line that up and I know that that little notch is right where it's going to line up just perfect. Okay, now then we're going to cut these before you assemble them. Now a little bit farther into this you're going to see I did not do that. I didn't, and so I had to come back and work on it. So just kind of give it this rough cut around this pink. It's easier to get cut out at this point, and I'm just going to insert this real quick into the video here in a second and then move on. But yeah, cut these out before you go on, you guys. You will be so much happier. And I mean I got it done, but it would have been a lot easier to do it this way. Okay, so there we have it. So now we've got her ready to put into the card. And make sure you do both sides. Okay, so do both sides like this. We're going to come back with this part that we've already gotten, okay? And then we are going to, this is how she's going to go. She's going to flip. She's going to be like this. And so she needs to come in right like this and attach on both sides. So for our flaps, we're going to attach her right here on both sides. And so the pink, the non-colored, the non-patterned side is facing down, and then you're going to see the tabs. So we'll just get her on there like that. Line her up like this. And then again, make sure that you can get it folded. You'll want to be able to fold it. And then on this one, now this is a little trickier. And this is what I would suggest on this one. When you do the other side, get your glue down, because we want her face to match up as we put her together, right? So I'm going to kind of tilt her this way. I'm going to match her little bow up and her face. You can see her nose matches. And I'm going to hold it right here. Stick my finger in the glue. And now I'm just going to come over with this and lay this down. And there she is. And now I know she matches all up there. Okay. So there we've got that part of our card done. And there she goes right there. Okay, let's continue. This next section is for the inside of the card, and it matches like this. You'll find this one big rose here goes against the side. Let me see. I don't know if it matches both ways. I think it actually will match on either side. Oh, it sure does. So you just need to know that these are wider than they are tall, okay? And if you've got your kind of these lighter color peach roses faced to the left, that's going to work, okay? That'll be the easiest way for you to figure out which way they go. So either way, they match up. The other pieces, the ones on the front were a little bit harder. So now we're going to take these and we're going to lay them in here. And I'm not going to do these in half yet. I'm just going to get them into the card, because who knows, you know, sometimes things go together a little bit differently than you planned. And we'll be able to make our creases after the fact. Our score, we don't have to score it yet. You guys, I'm going to have to fill up my tiny glue bottles. Okay, give it a little glue. All right. You guys, I'm hoping I can get through this project with those. So now just put it over here, match it up, match up your tops and bottoms here. Get it on there straight, and there we go. And now we'll just do the other one. I love not having to, you know, worry too much about it. That was great that it matches either direction on this one. And you can tell I didn't even realize that at first. But the other one, yes, the other one that you use for the other side of the card, yes, you have to match that one up. I don't believe those go together either direction. The print is a little bit smaller. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this one in next. And just again, line it all up. Get it squared up there. And there we've got that section. Now what you want to do is you want to take this, and I would suggest that with this, kind of feel where that is right there, and then give it a little help. Hold something here if you want to get a nice crease. And I may even take it to my scoreboard and get it even better. You can do it on both sides if you want to take this to a scoreboard. But really, this is coming together nicely. I don't even think I'm going to have to. And not everybody has a paper trimmer. Oh, this one needs a little snip off right here. And you know, if we would have, here's the thing about inking. If you ink as you go, you can get some of these places that are white. I'll show you what I mean. Let's go ahead and get through, and then I'll show you how some of that can help. You know, ink is kind of like makeup for paper projects, you guys. All right, so now I'm going to hold her nice and tight, and then I'm going to make this paper go right where I want it so that it is the best possible spot and closes the nicest. Okay, so if I've got her face there all closed up, then that's going to be the best. And there we go. There her little noses. It looks like it could have been a little bit different. Let me see. Let me try straightening it up a tiny smidge, not too much. And then what I can do is go back in here and press again really hard, because I can see that paper buckling up there. And that helped a little bit. And it wasn't off enough that it would really make any difference, right? Okay, so our next step is pocket. We have a variety of pieces to make some little tuck spots and pockets. So let's set the pockets there for 1 second, and let's go ahead and put in these pieces for some tuck spots. Now I'm going to make this one a little side tuck pocket, and so I am only going to put glue on 2 sides. If I put glue on 2 sides, it'll leave it open just a little bit. And you can put these anywhere you want in here. Any way that you want to assemble your little pockets and tuck spots, that's up to you. That makes it totally personalized. Now this one, okay, now this one is on the left. So we'll just put a little glue on here. And these two also only get glue on 2 sides, the top or a side and the bottom. And then this one the same, this long side here. A little dab of glue. And put it here, like this. I want to make sure it's not sticking out past the edge of the card. All right. And then a pocket. We've got two little pockets here. Let's move these off to the side a second. So here's our two pockets, and they both are the same. The man, I'm getting glue all over. I got gluey fingers, you guys. So just go ahead and fold along the center of the little pocket here. So you have your little print. That's going to be the front. And then fold the tab. You guys, this is the one I was talking about. When you've got less to grab onto, it's a little bit harder to bend. So if you just have something there to kind of give it a start. And you can tell, you know, it needs to bend the other way, but that helps to get it going. And I can see where the line is, right? That gives me some indication of where to fold. Okay, and then turn it back in here. Well, let's do that again. I need to put it right down on the table. There we go. That's a better thing. Or not. Man, that one's giving me a little trouble. That one's kind of being a stinker. You know what? You guys, I am gonna grab out my scoring tool. And I'm gonna put it down here. I'll tell you what's probably happening is it may be going kind of across the grain of the paper. You know, fabric has a grain and paper has a grain, and sometimes when you're going against it, it doesn't want to fold right. There we go. And as long as I've got that out, I might as well just fold my little tabs or give them a score. And I might as well make quick work of it and score these other ones too, right? We'll just do it all quick. This is my paper trimmer and score tool from Stampin' Up. Okay. Okay. Got that going. So let's just fold in our little glue tabs. Well, you know, when you use glue tabs on your paper, little pockets, whether it's tuck spots or, you know, pockets, when you have glue tabs, it gives you more space in the pocket or the item because it's not tight against, like if I just put a pocket onto, you know, this without having any glue tabs, it would be really tight. And this way it gives you a little bit more room in your pocket. Now, you know, line this up, look at it from the front so you get it where you want it. And so you don't have any of that showing. And then you might need to go ahead and press it into place. Now, this one, and you know, don't worry if it's, look what happened. Do you see I have a little bit of white showing here? As soon as this dries, I'll go in and I can trim that off. So don't worry. I mean, sometimes it's not exactly perfect and it's not going to ruin your project. Guys, I've got these little nasty glue things and they're starting to fall off on stuff and get dirty looking. That's the way that goes, right? All the problems with glue. But I tell you what, I would much rather use liquid glue and have that kind of glue get stuck on me than using a glue gun and get that kind of glue stuck on me. How about you guys? That is not fun. That is no bueno. Okay. And again, let's try and get this lined up. Now, because the back is just that single piece and it's not got the flaps on the back, boy, that one is kind of, I got that one kind of out of whack as well. All right. And you know, almost every one of these will go together a little bit differently for you. So now I'm just going to take my little small scissors here and just trim that tiny bit off. And it will not harm anything. No paper products were harmed. Okay. Oh, where's the little Velcro dot? I have some little Velcro dots here to use on these. I must have put them away. I forgot to grab them out. No, we'll see in a second. Okay. And then those just fold over like that. Now, let's make a separate, a little extra pocket. We're going to use this pocket that folds over with flaps. We are going to, now I'm going to put one on the back. Let's see, which one do we want to put? Well, this print is a little bit smaller than the back. I think I'm going to use that one there. And this print is certainly smaller. Let's use this one here. Now I'm going to put it kind of low on the page, and I'll show you why. We're only going to glue 3 sides here. So put your glue along the edge. And if you want to glue it completely flat to the page, you can certainly do that. But we're going to make an extra little pocket by doing this. We're going to leave the top open. Just put a little bit of your glue. You won't put too much, because if it takes up a lot of room, you won't have room for it to be a pocket. Okay. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to be able to stick this in here when it's dry. Okay? So we will have made another pocket. And then our next secret pocket, we're going to take one of these pieces of paper that we had like this. We're going to take this and we're going to flip it over and trace around it and give it, now I can't just, I should have trimmed off the border edge. Let me see, do I want it? Sure, that'll be fun to just run this way, up and down. So I'm just going to trace around the little pocket here, or the little tag. We're going to make, and you know, if you wanted to make any of these other tags that you cut out and kind of duplicate the shape and have another tag, these would be perfect. So we've got that. And I'm just going to cut this out here. I think this is the most darling little card to be able to, you know, fold in half. And it actually is a decent size to mail. If you put it in an envelope, if you don't fold it and you put it in an envelope that full size, it's going to cost even more postage, because I imagine you would have to have like a square envelope. You know, I should have checked that out. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so now on this one, what we're going to do is we're going to put glue from about the bottom of the curve here until all the way around and then up one side. Okay? And then we will put the other one on and have a tiny little tuck spot there in that for a little secret pocket. Don't you look? It's like the secret garden, except this is just the secret pocket. Okay, so we got that on there, and now just line them up. Just put them together. We know they match. And then we'll let that dry for a moment. And then let's go ahead, while that's drying, let's go ahead and finish the other little tuck spots and pockets. So here's another little envelope. We could put this one on the back here. And again, you can either put it kind of in the middle, or you can put it down low and have another place for, there is another one of these that fit in here, and you could just tuck that in as well and have another little fun place to tuck one of those long cards. So let's just repeat that same process and just put glue on these 3 sides. Okay. So I'm going to put it down here towards the bottom. Doesn't have to be all the way at the bottom. And then we'll let that one rest. And now here's a cute little stacked pocket. Let's put this along here. And it does probably need to go to the bottom. And only do the 3 sides of that one, the bottom and the 2 sides. Because that too can become a pocket. Can you believe how many pockets are on here? So many little pockets. Okay. And just line that up. Make sure that, you know, it's not where your folds go. And then the little small front pocket. Okay. And just slide that on down there. And just match up the sides and the bottom. And there you go. Now you've got that extra pocket. All right. Let's work on our tags now. These are a fun thing designed to kind of work together, and you know, not all of them have to have a hole punched in them. This tiny bow right here, I'm going to put on with this one that has the cowgirl hat, and I'm just going to stick that on here, and I'm going to put this one, put that right there. And so this one doesn't even need, even though there was a hole in there, I don't have to, you know, punch that hole and put that in. And I think this may fit in here. Let's see. That will fit in there. Now, if we put that in there, not everybody's going to know that. Oh, you know what? We can put, so that somebody knows that's in there, we can put a little thumb notch. Because we want that this little side pocket to be hidden in that other pocket, I'm going to do kind of a deep hole punch here. Like that. And I am going to, and you can see I went ahead and I just did it through both of them. And I'm just going to curve this up a tiny bit. My curve wasn't too great on that one. And now I'm going to stick this in here. And then we wouldn't, otherwise you would need like a tab or something. And a tab would make it stick out too far. And so we can see that there and pull that out. Okay, so let's set that to the side for a minute and work on some of these others. So you can layer these things up, and it's kind of like, you know, sometimes when you have beads and you make dangly things for things, it's kind of along that line. And you can layer these things up, and you can cover them up and punch a hole, you know, layer them the way you want to. And I like this hat on the cow. And take a hole punch then and punch through all of them at the same time so you get it right where you want it. And then they'll all match up. And then take your piece of ribbon and kind of, you know, I'm gonna have to use my other hand and take these and match them up and run your ribbon through. And then just tie it. And then you've got this fun, and you know, if you want to tie it in a knot, you can. Don't tie it real tight. And then these things, you've got some wiggle room right here, and they can kind of swing back and forth. So they're kind of dangly, right? And then you've got that there. Just tie this tight right there. Don't get it tight in here, but try and, you know, tighten it on that side, and then these will move back and forth. You've got some movement there. Let's do another one. Let's put here's a disco ball and these boots. How cute is that? Let's do that one. And you can just put any of these together that you want to. Make sure my bow isn't up there so far that I don't know where that goes. And just go ahead and just layer them up any way you want to. Any combination works absolutely fine. And then you've got all of these things going. And that's all there is to it, you guys. Then you can just put these together and just make it come together the way you want it to. And then you've got something special, either for you or somebody else. Now, you know, and one of the things, some people are like, well, what would I do with these, you know? Well, you know, all of the backs of these are white on the back, and so you can, you know, write little journal notes if you want to. You can go ahead and make little lists if you want to, and it's just, they're just cute as can be, right? Now, let's see. This, okay, so here's our little pocket like this, And you can either put it in whichever way you want. And now we can slide it in there like this, right? And there we've got that. And so you've got two different kinds of goodies right there. And I think there is a larger bow right here in this pile of fun. The pile of fun, right? Here's some little cards. These are certainly nice for little journal cards. So you can stick those in. So I am just sticking a Velcro dot here. Just stick it on your dot or on the flap and fold it over. And then just leave it for a couple minutes while the adhesive goes on. I also put a little Velcro dot here, but I put this bow on this one and I made sure that it would open. So put your glue along the top edge of that bow and then just fold it like that. Make sure that it'll open and it's not in the way. If you had it up too far, it's not going to allow you to open that flap, okay? And then there's this little pocket thing, and I thought that something that would be kind of cute to do with this, instead of covering, I think this is adorable, and I don't really want to, fold that out of the way. So let's just put a little bit of glue. I'm not going to make any kind of... I'm not going to score it to make a score line or anything. I'm just going to put a dab of glue along here. And that way it'll still, be able to bend open. And if you wanted to do something there, you could write, you could journal a little note. If you want to make a score line here, you could. But I think I'm just going to leave that. And we could even do that after the fact, right? So I've still got a couple of little goodies here to put together. Let's do these with a little ribbon. And like I said, you can just put these together any way you want to. You can use these little pieces. They don't have to be attached at all. You can use them separately, however you want to do it. It's your project, right? It's your project and you can just make it however you would like to. And I'm just going to put this in here. Now I'm going to show you in a second another thing that you can do to kind of keep your edges from fraying. Some people kind of like a little bit of a frayed look, and if you like it that way, then there's no problem, right? No problem. And just, like I said, tighten this part of your knot, and maybe try to, pull them so that they wing out there at the top. And then I think this is maybe our last one, like this. And if we put them together, you can either use them separately or put them together. I don't know, maybe I'll just leave these separate. They don't all have to be tucked together, right? And if you use one of those cheap hole punches, or I shouldn't say cheap, just one of them that you can get like most anywhere, the grocery store or the Dollar Tree, anywhere like that, they make a really nice size hole. My crocodile can punch through several things, but as you can see, I've got a little bit of white around there. It kind of looks like, it's like a reverse hole reinforcement. How many of you remember those little things that we used to have to use on our papers sometimes? And then we can just put this in here. I'm going to put this in here since it did have if we don't do something with that hole, it's going to look funny, right? So let's go ahead and make that to our advantage. I don't think I've got another piece of ribbon cut though. Let me see. Where did my ribbon go? Okay. Put this one in here. And then I've got this other tiny little pair of boots here. My last little embellishment that's here. Okay, we'll just get this tied and be done with that. Okay, and this one I'm just going to just put these boots right here. And the way I'm going to do this one is I'm going to put the boots down at the bottom. Before I put this on, I think this would be the perfect spot to kind of show what a difference that it can be if you do a little bit of inking, because this is so similar in color to this place I decided to put this one, I'm just going to ink it up a dab. And it's going to show up so much better on here. Look at that. See, can you see how much better that shows up on there? And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and let's just ink this tab, or this not tab. This last tag. Woo! Sometimes words are so hard, aren't they? This is our last tag here. Okay. And we'll need to punch a hole in it. Okay. Well, we're going to get it in there. I think so. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now, if you want to take these ribbons and you want to dovetail them, that's really easy, and it just makes them look so pretty. If you want to do that, it just takes a second. And one of the easiest ways to do that is you take your ribbon here, fold it in half, and then cut from the center out. So from the center out to the edge, and now you've got a pretty little dovetail on your ribbon. Now, if you don't like the frayed edges and you're afraid it's gonna fray, one thing that I do sometimes is I'll take this tiny bit of the white glue, because it dries clear, and I just dab it along my edge, just like that. Now, you're thinking, well, that looks awful. Well, I tell you what, it's going to dry perfectly clear, and those edges are going to stay really nice. Now this one, that didn't have a nice edge to start with. Something happened there. So, again, just dot it on there, and it will keep it nice looking. Okay. And then on this little boot, I'm just going to put glue across the bottom here. And it's going to be a tuck spot like this. Like you could still tuck something up in here. Okay? Like maybe I want to tuck that there. Although now this is this has got kind of a pinky color to this. But see what I mean? That's just the easiest thing to do. And now we've got all of these pockets done and everything. And we've made this, okay, now this is a good example. That thing needs to be trimmed a tiny bit because as I folded it over, it's in the way. So I'm going to trim that up. Just like that. There we go. And then we've got it. Now it's good. And if you want to take a ribbon and tie around the whole thing, you could do that. But I don't really think you need to. If you need to do that and you want to, that's fine. But then you've got something across her face. And let's look again. Let's take another peek at the difference that it makes when you've got, all of, and I actually put some Nuvo drops on her nose to give it a little bit of dimension on this one. And just something. You could put a little bit of gold stickles on there or whatever you want to do to just kind of jazz her up. And if you don't like the way your edges here have looked or where you cut it, you can certainly go back and give it a little bit of a different angle for that trim. Just take a peek at how it looks and what you think about it. And like I said, if you want to do inking, you're going to have to do your inking as you go. You can do that, but this is, this makes a big difference in the way, that it looks. And some people don't like inking. Some people don't like that look. So it's just a very personal preference as to, what you want to do with yours. And as far as making an envelope goes, all you need to do, this is how she is meant to fold up to send as a card. And so you've got plenty of room on one of these extra papers to go ahead and trim the border off there, and you can fold this up. I would cut it a little, and it's thick, so you can make your envelope and to fix like that, and that would work fine. It would be perfectly fine. You've got plenty for a fold to go over this way, and there you have it. I think that she is adorable, and I hope that you have enjoyed this. Have a great time, you guys. Bye-bye.